It's still real to me, damn it!
Yep.
Pure electric sex.
The sex is good!
RK Stud. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Wrestle Review with your host RK Stud. And as you can tell, there's a little bit of changes going on the show. If you can kind of check it out, I don't know. So anyway, this is a special edition one, and another one I know I was talking about W.A.R. Trick or Treat, Saturday, October 2nd. Well, I had the chance to go down with the RK Stud's newest, Lady Love, and it was her first wrestling show, and she liked it. Let me just tell you a little bit of the history of it. Promotion started back 2003. They've been going on and off since then. The way I found out about it was back in '04, they ran a local commercial during Raw, and to me at the time it just looked so funny and cheesy that I didn't really give it a chance then. But flash forward to May of 2005, I came in contact with a friend of mine, Andrew Reardon, at a show in town, and he and another friend of mine, he used to be a wrestler but not sure where he's at anymore. They were talking up to me about W.A.R. and saying how good it was, and not only was that, but I was chatting with someone online, and at the time I told Andy, you know, the online name, and then he told me who it was, and it was one of the owners of W.A.R. Just talking it up to me, it made the promotion sound really good. And flash forward a couple months ahead in '05, I believe it was August or September, and Andy finally trusted me enough to go up there, and it was the beginning for the W.A.R. tag team titles, and they had a 16-man tournament that night and took it all the way down to, I believe, they left like the semifinals left to go yet. There was also a match involving one of the mainstays of W.A.R. wrestling, Dusty Dillinger, and the late great Sweet Stevie Lee in a cage match. It was one of the best live cage matches I had ever seen. And shortly after that, Sweet Stevie passed away, which pretty much brings me to the fact that RK Stud might be a jinx in some sort of fashion. But however, through that first show, we constantly went for a long time to see almost every W.A.R. show, and they're all good. I can't complain about never one being good or worse than the one previously. They all just have a straight follow-through, friendly wrestling show, so everyone can enjoy it. And in fact, the older people get more out of control than the little kids. But through the entire history of W.A.R., they've had plenty of good talent just come on the shows. They've had former TNA star Cody Deaner. They've had former WWE wrestlers, the Highlanders, Robbie and Rory McAllister. Never got a fair shake in my opinion in the WWE. They have ties to Al Snow. Yes, Dad Al Snow from Lima, Ohio. They've had the late Pest there, one of his last appearances before he passed away. They've had Desmond Wolfe from TNA when he was known as Nigel McGuinness. Colt Cabana's been there. Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, and Chris Sabin have both been there. So the talent list that's been there is very strong, very good. Through on and off, they've presented some really good shows. Like I said, this last time I just went when I advertised it on my other show. I was able to go. The reason why I'm doing this now is before W.A.R. never had any DVDs out. The only way you were able to get a hold of them is if you knew someone who had them or someone who could convert them, like my buddy and cameraman for W.A.R., Little John, who's given me a lot of W.A.R. shows that have helped show me build up and give me the history. So there's a little few shout outs out there to my friends who've been there. They finally have DVDs out, and they had the first 5 that they recently done out at the show Saturday night. I got a couple of them. I've already watched them, and I'm going to review them, plus bring you all up to date on this latest W.A.R. show that's happened. They always do this at W.A.R. They always make the little things for people to take and look, and they even have the match listings. The show for Trick or Treat was kind of moved around a little, but it still was good. First match, Jeff Cannon and Jeremy Madrix with The Rock Show, Ernie Balls. They took on Gutter and Nate Matson. And before the match, Cannon and Madrix fired Ernie. Poor Rock Show. I guess he gets what he deserves. He's pretty crappy as a manager. And then the second match was a ladies match. First time I've seen Mina Libra, and she took on Nevaeh. Standard fair ladies match, but almost like through every move, Nevaeh had to adjust her top, and that was a sight to see. I guess her top was a little too tight. I don't know, but it was a standard ladies match. It was really good. And in the third match, we had Mr. Ego, Cody Hawk, against the American Kickboxer. What can I say other than size does matter? And Cody comes out to a faction in W.A.R. called Bad Company, and all 4 members have to come out to the song Bad Company by Five Finger Death punch. Got a little redundant. That's my only main fault of the show. Standard good guy, small guy match. Next match, at the Old School Empire, Mr. Old School, Jock Sampson, who I've never seen before, and your hero, Mr. Main Event. They took on a short guy by the name of Ganger and Stamp Wicked, who's been a mainstay in WAR as part of Delivery Inc. since day one. Well, during the match, Jeff Cannon and Jeremy Madrox came out for the Old School Empire, and fortunately for Stamp and Ganger, The Rock Show came out, asked for the pin and got the win, and Old School roll up on Mr. Old School, and after that, the manager for the Old School Empire, he's kind of a jerk, by the way, Ripper Blackheart, he proceeded to fire Mr. Old School, and everyone had a beat down on him and cut his hair. Feel sorry for Mr. Old School, showing all that blubber around and that golden hair of his cut. We'll only see what happens to Mr. Old School now. The next match was Chris the Madness Hall, another member of Bad Company, against Poison Apollo Star, who's been kind of a mainstay on and off with WAR since its initial beginnings, and I believe Chris the Madness Hall won. I don't know, I had to take a bathroom break. And then we had an intermission, and then we had Tarek the Legend taking on WAR mainstay Dusty Dillinger, and I believe Dusty won. And of course, Tarek came out. He's another member of Bad Company. There we go, that's 3 times we've heard the song, Bad Company, which, by the way, the crowd is 50-50 split on them. Personally, the song's good. The faction is supposed to be bad, so take it for what it is, I guess. Then the next match, there was Ashley Six taking on Scotty O'Shea, taking on Nathan Page and Brandon Edwards. And the standard 4-man scramble, which Ashley Six, I believe, won. And bring us to the 8th match, Scarbonis from New Jersey taking on Joey V and Mikey D. And that was purely need to be where it was at. They're both young tag teams. Scarbonis I've seen on and off through the years. It was my first time seeing Joey V and Mikey D, and I can tell you easily all 4 guys had the young girls screaming in the audience. We had some sitting behind us. They were just screaming their little lungs out for them. And then the final match was a 12-man War Rumble for the War title. And pretty much came down to 2 people. Came down to Caden Assad and Dusty Dillinger. And chaos ensues from there. Everyone comes out, battles everyone. I can't say who all took on who, other than the fact of, from my own viewpoint, I was watching my hero, Mr. Main Event, beating up and down, and The Rock Show Ernie Balls, which to me is quite hilarious, for reasons I won't say, other than I kind of do know both guys. Of course, the big commissioner came down and made some announcements for the next show, which is a benefit for the Humane Society, which is October 23rd, and their next show after that will be December 4th, back at the UAW Hall. So, once again, another solid action of WAR, in my humble opinion. Okay, now on to the DVDs themselves that I bought. I got Unfinished Business, which was supposed to be the champ Metalhead Steve Stone against Bad Attitude Brian Beach. However, Bad Attitude had some serious injuries and at the time had to quit the business, so we had a replacement of Dusty Dillinger. Before he left for Hawaii, he moved to Hawaii for a little bit. Since then, he's come back and moved back to the area, which I can't say is a bad thing. The rest of the matches on here, I believe this was the first one done by Nighthawk Entertainment. Yeah, there's Gutter against Danny Daniels. It turned into a tag team match. Daniels having his protege Jordan McIntyre, Gutter having Nate Matson. Stamp Lickage against Gibsonburg's own Natural Brian Bender with Ernie Balls. I believe that was supposed to be the match. Yeah, it was the match. Yeah, and we had Mike Dodge and Tyson Judge against Madrox and Jeff Cannon. Standard tag team fair. Astonishing Aaron Williams, who I finally got to see on here. It's actually pretty good. Could be a rising talent. It's Hardcore Craig. Hardcore Craig's been in on and off all the years in the war. Then we had the Old School Empire taking on Ganger and Eric Smalls, and Eric Smalls is just a midget wrestler, and he's able to hold up Mr. Old School on his back and drop him back. And it was a real fun match. Then we had American Dynamite, Brandon Edwards against Caden Assad. Caden Assad has only been in the business just not too long, and already one of the top rising stars in the area. Let's just see if he can propel himself forward in the wrestling business. He's really good. Poison Apollo Star against the General Lee, which, okay. Then we have Chris the Madness Hall and Sherman Tate taking on High Def Supernovas, Robbie Starr and Matt Mason, 2 single guys in the business for years, now teaming up, and they're working all over the place here in Ohio, and I'm sure they've gone other places too. Really rising together. Right now one of the most popular tag teams in war. Then, of course, you know, we had Steve Stone against Dusty Dillinger. A nice little brawl all over the stage. Then the next one I got was Free For All. It's one of WAR's yearly event where fans just get free tickets and go to the show. So it's one of them cool things that W.A.R does to give back to fans and donate a lot to charities over the years, which is another good reason why some of us around here like W.A.R. This show itself, we have superstar Colt Cabana, who was recently cut by WWE and his 90-day clause was up. And he came in and he took on Caden Assad in a very strong match. It's one of the matches that I believe people should get this DVD for anyway. 4-man scramble. We have Jordan McIntyre going up against Man of Value Jeff Brooks, going up against Kid Hybrid versus Tim Horner Jr. Yeah, this is a scramble match. Everyone's in until they're pinned and eliminated. Now the note on this, and on this DVD, it's so hilarious. You have Man of Value Jeff Brooks coming out to the theme to The Greatest American Hero. And I kind of showed someone and they laughed about it, and I laughed about it. And then Jordan McIntyre, who's a protege of Danny Daniels allegedly, he came out to Lady Gaga's Bad Romance. Now, how cool is that? That is offbeat. That's what pro wrestling is. It's offbeat, wacky, and fun. And Kid Hybrid, I've seen before, high flyer with an afro, and going up against Tim Horner Jr., who's been wrestling on and off for a few years. Lives in Toledo, but he's supposed to be Tim Horner Jr. And if any of you wrestling fans remember Tim Horner from WCW days and Southern Wrestling days, do you kind of see the connection? I don't. So it's just funny that there's a Tim Horner Jr. without actually having any Tim Horner DNA in him whatsoever. And we have All-American Jack Sampson taking on 8-year-old Donnie Swenson. Yes, a man that's very tall for his age. This little boy who wore Superman underwear, over tights, and an Elmo shirt. And then the crowd was going wild for this little special wrestler. I don't know. Can I be PC or can I actually call him retard? We'll just go with retard. I'm feeling a little bad today. Yeah. Then Joey V took on the Natural Brian Bender and Jeff Cannon all by his lonesome self. And we had Astonishing Aaron Williams taking on Tarek the Legend. It was a good match between the two. Enjoyed it. Then Brandon Edwards took on Mr. Ego Cody Hawk. And then the main event was the High Def Supernovas and Poison Apollo Star against Metalhead Steve Stone, Curse the Madness Hall, and Brandon Blaze. And just so everyone knows, there is mighty bit difference between the first one and the second one. And you could honestly see it. You know, they were able to get more shots in of the wrestlers brawling in the second one than in the first one, where the wrestlers were off camera and you didn't see the brawling at all. You just saw a standard shot of the ring. So, you know, it's also a work in progress, but it's nice to watch something like that. The commentary by JL Thrush, if he gets better, it's going to be good. Play-by-play commentary by Ripper Blackheart is amusing. He kind of picks up and does the Jerry Lawler heel roll. You know, even making fun of certain fans in the crowd. But I suggest seriously going on the W.A.R site to start picking these up, and you guys can finally get to see some really good wrestling action. I support W.A.R for the simple fact of there's never been a bad show. Everything's been on the up and good. And now that they finally have DVDs, well, RK Stud loves that. So it also helps you get up to speed on W.A.R itself. So I suggest these. Unfinished Business, it was the first one to come out. They all actually came out at the same time. This one, I have to give it just to see a cover-to-cover pin, but Free For All. I recommend this. I give this a B for bell-to-bell action. And as always, we will put in the websites where to go for these things. And this is RK Stud. I'm out.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Yep.
Pure electric sex.
The sex is good!
RK Stud.